Okay. So, yeah, the topic is default interface method, default method versus abstract method, static interface method, and annotations. So, first thing is what is default interface method? And before before telling you this, I just want to show you some way so that we can create interface. Okay. For that, we'll just open IntelliJ IDEA and now the first question is what is interface actually? So I don't think you have ever gone through interface. Let's just do this. So what is interface? So it basically defines a contract. Okay.
Contract.
It, yeah, it defines a contract that a class must implement the methods from interface, all the methods. So whichever class is implementing the interface, that class must implement all the methods which is there in the contract. Okay, it must
Okay.
override those methods. Okay, all right.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see how we can create interface. And for that, let's just say that we will be having few service, okay? Uh, wait, I have few things which I can show you. So I'm going to show you in just a moment. So we can create a new package for it. So right click new package and we can write it as service. So you can see, wait, is it inside? No. You can see we got one more package called a service. So here if you go to new, you can just see that Java class, right? In that you need to select interface. Okay. So in Java we can create multiple types of things like class, interface, record, enum, enum, annotation, exception. But for now, we'll just say that yeah, it's an interface. Okay.
Okay.
Now let's say this interface is for creating a service. So let's say it's a login interface, okay? So we can just call it login and let's say it is a login service, okay? So you can see the syntax, right? We first mentioned
Yeah.
public, then we
Public.
mentioned interface, then there is the file name, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So what is an interface? I already told you. We will just define a contract, and whichever class will be implementing this interface will implement all the methods inside this login service. So, what do you think? What kind of methods will be there in login service? So, definitely there will be one method which is login, right?
One
So, we can
login
make it
method.
public, and a login will integer the type of object which will be let's say we will create one more package called as model and let's create a type of object. Let's say it is a user. So we'll just say it's a user class. And for a user, we'll define few attributes like public, sorry, like private, string. Let's say a user will have name. A user will have an email, right? A
Yeah.
user will definitely have an ID,
Mhm.
private integer ID, right?
Mhm.
Uh, let's just go with this much only, and let's say we will be creating at the rate. We'll be creating getter and setters for this. So right click generate, and we'll select all of these, and we will be creating getter and setters. Okay. So these are the getter and setters, and we will be creating constructor as well. So for creating constructor, we can click right and click generate and constructor and create an all argument constructor. Okay. So this is an all argument constructor. All right. So I hope this much step is clear to you that we created a class called as user and we defined that this class will have few fields which is ID, name, email, and we created a constructor and getter and setter. Okay.
Yeah.
And now we want to create a service for login where we will create an object of user here. We will return the object of user while we log in.
Okay.
It says modifier is public, redundant for interface members. Remove public modifier. Okay, let's remove it. Yeah, so we created one method called as login, and what else we can create? Well, let's just say that this is a user service that will be
Okay.
fetching few details from user. Okay, so we'll just
Mhm.
refactor it. Refactor rename file to instead of login, we can just say that it's a user service. So what are the things which we can do? So we can add a user, we can get a user info, right? We can
Mhm.
delete a user from database, right? We can update a user. So these things we can do with a user. So we did create, read, update, and delete. So what we call it as this is our CRUD operation. Okay.
Okay.
Create, read, update, and delete. So this is your CRUD operations. So we created a model, and in that model we said that this is a user, and we did the CRUD operations in the interface. Okay. Now
Mhm.
let's create some methods for add a user. So to add a user, what we will need? So we need to return we need to have some return type, which is user, let's say, and add user is the function name, and we will pass user as parameter. So this is our first function. Now to get a user, we'll definitely get user, and we might need to pass something like ID or maybe email or something like that. To delete a user, we don't need to return anything. We can create void and we just create another and just ask the ID of the user which we need to delete. I'm just giving you an example, don't worry.
Yeah,
Okay,
sir. I
it's an
okay,
example
sir.
only.
Okay, sir.
And for updating, we need to return this user. Let's say update user. and we'll pass user. Okay. So this is an interface which will have multiple methods or function you can say. So in this
Mm-hmm.
interface we have four functions, which is basically our CRUD operation, which is create, read, update, and delete. We created a model. So what is model? Model is basically a class. So it will represent an entity in your database. That in your database you have a table called as user. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a table. Okay. If you are using Spring Boot, you will get the annotation for at the rate table and all etc. But we're not doing Spring Boot, so never mind. So constructor is done. Getter and setters are done. Now what we need to do, our service is created. We created an interface which is saying it's in contract. It's a contract which needs to be implemented by a it needs to be implemented by a implementation class. Okay. All right. So let's create
Okay.
it implementation as well. So we'll create a new package and we'll just say that um, this is a service implementation. Oh, yeah, we don't need to service IMPL. So it's a new package and we will create a new class and we'll say that it's a user service IMPL means implementation. So it's an implementation class which will implement what? So we have a keyword called as implements. So it will implement our user service which we defined, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now when you do this, you can see we got it by import. You can see that we still have one red underline. And let's hover over here and let's see what it says. It says
Mm-hmm.
that user service implementation must either be declared abstract or implement abstract methods add user in user service. Okay.
Okay.
So if we do the abstract here, then it will remove the error. Okay. But it will not solve our purpose of creating interface. So let's just, if we created an interface to follow this class, like this class will follow this interface. So it should create all the methods. Okay. So now here you can see there is an option to implement methods. When you hover here anywhere, you can see you'll get an option of implement methods. So when you click it, you can see you get multiple options that yes, we have these contract that in this class we need to create these methods. Okay. And
Okay.
let's hit OK. And you can see we created a simple thing like we created implementation of whatever you mentioned here. This looks like it doesn't have any body, right? It's just a
Mm-hmm.
declaration. And for the body, we will create the body here, okay, in user service implementation.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So this is completely unnecessary, but it is a better way to write a code that you mentioned these things like at the rate override. So what override means? So override means that you are rewriting the code, the specific code. So we are before this was declared, and we are rewriting or implementing this code. So we are mentioning that this is override. Let's see. It indicates that the method declaration is intended to override a method declaration in supertype. If a method is annotated with this annotation, type compilers are required to generate an error message unless at least one of the following conditions. A method does override or implement. Okay, okay, never mind. So yeah, we created all the implementations and let's add user. For adding a user, we cannot get it actually because we don't have any database set up yet. So for now, let's say that we can implement the get user. Okay. For this, you can say that, yeah, so our user um, will create a new class for user. Oh yeah, we can add also. We can add a user as well. How we can do that? We can just create a user. User is equals to new user. We'll pass few things. What we need to pass: integer ID, name, and string. So let's say this is one. Name is Ishan, and email ID is definitely something we need to pass. So let's say ishan@gmail.com. Okay. So by this, we created a wait variable user is already defined. Oh yeah. So yeah, maybe we are passing the user, right? If you're passing the user, we don't need to create another one. We can just say that new user is this user. I think this will. I just have to rename it. Maybe user one is equals to user. Okay, and then we will just return the user one. And to get a user, what we can do is we need to get an ID. So user dot get user. Okay, here we need to type ID. All right. Are you okay with this much?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Like, sir, I got the code and everything, but this left part where it's written project and everything, now I didn't understand how all these things work, if they are important.
Sorry, what? What did you
You
say?
see on the project, yeah, this left part of the screen, where it's written project,
Yeah, okay.
first Java idea, source, name. I
Yeah.
am kind of confused, like what these things are over here, but I understood the coding part where you
These are
explained
just
all that.
packages inside packages, okay?
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, so it's a folder inside folder inside folder. So it is basically a general way to write a code because we have so many things, right? So
Mhm.
first of all, we have this main org package, and before that we have a Java package and main. So let's go back. So this idea is basically something related to IntelliJ. So it's some compiler encoding, whatever, I don't know. This is completely irrelevant. And this POM file is basically because this is a Maven based project. So that's why we have this POM file. You can see this is a Maven. And this get ignore is for get file. If you push it on GitHub, then it should just remove this, like don't add these much things in your GitHub, okay? And this is a target file. Whenever you compile your code, whenever you do this, like hit run main, so it will create a target file, and in which it will generate some sources, annotations, and some classes as well. So these are the classes, okay? So the thing is, when we were doing, let's say, okay, let's say we have user here, right? So let's
Mhm.
compile this in our terminal. Let's say that we are going to src main java, and we are going to org, and we are going to model ls, and we got that we have a user.java. Let's compile it, okay? By compiling, I mean java c user.java, okay? You can see there is a class which will be created here called as
Yeah.
user.class. When you double
Uh,
click on that, it is a decompiled.class file version. So it's a bytecode, okay? Now the thing is, I don't want it, so let's just delete it from here. Let's say that we are running this from here, and this is our target file, right?
mhm.
This is our classes, And let's see, we are running this user from clicking here. So let's set it to current file, and our current file is user, and let's run it. Wait, the file in the editor is not runnable. Okay. Hmm. We need to have a main function here. So yeah, we need to public static void main string args um, return. We don't have to return anything. Let's print something. System.out.println, and let's say hello. This class user is running. Okay. Now let's run this file. Now, do you see that it ran? So it is building, starting, and you can see it is running, right? So hello, this
Yeah.
class user. But you see that there is no user.class which is created here inside the model, right?
Mhm.
But you know that when we compile, it should create user.class, right? Now what is happening? Where is it creating? If it's not creating here, it should create somewhere, right? So it is creating
Yeah.
inside this target folder. So this is the target folder. And here in classes, you can see that, yeah, this model user got created, and you can see it's a bytecode, right? So it's a class, okay?
Mhm.
So I hope
Yeah.
now you know that what is this target, and we have some, this is not, we are not generating anything, so yeah. So you can see everything got compiled along with it. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Yeah, so now I hope you are okay with this target.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in source, we have main and test. So whenever we write our program, like whenever we write our project and some files, we need
Mhm.
to create some test file as well. But it is out of scope for this discussion to create tests, so we are skipping it. And inside the
Okay.
main,
So.
you have Java and resources. Again, resources is out of scope for this discussion because it is used for projects only. And we are just showcasing few sample classes, how to create classes interface. So yeah, it's out of scope. Now inside this Java, we have now these are basic packages only, and we are creating classes, interfaces, etc. Okay, I hope it's okay. All right. So where were we? Yeah, so we were creating the service implementation. So you can
User
see,
ID.
yeah, there's an override, and we just implemented the contract which we created. So that's how interface works, and we need to implement the interface. And it solves a very major problem, which is a diamond problem.
Which is a diamond.
It's a diamond problem, like it will solve the diamond problem. And diamond problem says that Java can't, um, Java cannot do multiple inheritance. Okay, so Java cannot implement multiple inheritance. So this is what diamond problem says.
Okay. But we can solve that problem by the use of interface.
Yeah, but we can solve that problem by
By the
the use of interface. Okay, so basically what it is, so Java cannot extend multiple classes. Okay, what it means, it cannot inherit multiple classes, but it can implement multiple classes. So if it can implement then it is solved now using interface. Okay. So this interface thing will solve multiple problems, and to be honest, uh, it is really helpful because it hides all the implementation. Okay, so it
Okay.
hides. So this is basically used for abstraction. So you can see that we completed one topic from object-oriented concept, which is abstraction. Okay. Now, what
Yeah.
is abstraction? We are covering object-oriented concepts as of now. So what is abstraction? So abstraction means that we are hiding very complex code from someone. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
we are hiding the inside whatever we are doing inside a function. We are hiding all those things, and we
Okay.
are only we are only giving access to this interface. So let's say if you give this interface to someone and says that yeah we have these functions, yeah, so we have a mobile, and in a mobile you get four buttons, and by clicking these buttons you can call these functions. Okay, so in first button we have add user, get user, delete user. So you can see that a user can see that yeah there is a button called as add user, but what is inside that add user, what is the backend logic, he can't see that. Okay, to see
Mm.
that to be able to see that, he needs to go to this implementation class and see this. Okay, only then he will be able to see all the inner logic what we did. Okay, so this is the abstraction. We are hiding very complex code or something we are hiding from those we want to hide. Okay, so this is what
Okay.
abstraction is all about. And what is encapsulation? Let's discuss that. So encapsulation is this user. So you can see, right? We created this private ID, private name, and private email. So this is only accessible inside this user class, right?
Yeah.
It is not accessible outside this user class. But how we are using this inside implementation? So we are using this using getter and setter, right? So we
Yeah.
just did that, yeah, get user. So we use this getter method, and without knowing the ID or without knowing the actual thing, without touching it, we are able to get or maybe set. So yeah, so this concept is called as encapsulation. This is your encapsulation, okay? All right.
Yeah.
Now, I hope inheritance you already know that you will just inherit some class into a class. So inheritance is easy. So the only doubt you will come, it will come in your mind is the encapsulation, abstraction, these things, because these are very confusing. And I hope it's clear now what is abstraction.
Yes, sir.
So we will hide the complex code from someone. So this is how we do that. We create an interface and we implement it and just define all the inner things here. And what interface solves the diamond problem that Java cannot do multiple inheritance. So yeah, all right.
Yes, sir.
You know, a lot of concepts is clear to you now.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any doubt? Any
Uh,
doubt, like any small one?
no, sir. So far, so good.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I think we done few topics here only. We done the abstraction, encapsulation, and interface, implementation of interface, right? Now what we need to do, we need to learn the what is default interface method. So let's see. These are directly added to an interface to extend its capabilities. Okay.
Okay.
Default interface method can be added. Can you read it out loud? I've been speaking my.
Default interface methods, these are directly added to an interface to extend its capabilities. Default interface methods can be added to enhance an interface that is not even under your control. It does not break any existing implementation of the interface it is added to. Implementing class can override the default methods defined in the interface. Default method is also known as defender or virtual extension method. Okay.
Yeah, so what I told you previously that here you can see in user interface, right? So we declared few functions, or you can say a method. So we declared few methods here, but what is this default interface method? So these are normal methods, okay? All right. Now let's
Yeah.
see what are default, wait, default, my God, interface methods. Okay. To create a default interface method, we need to add a keyword default here, and let's follow this only. So let's say that we have a public, we have a string. Let's say get a sample user. Okay, let's say we get a sample user. This is our function. Now let's see if we don't add anything inside it. Let's see what happens. So if you create a default and you just wait, I need to, yeah. So like this, you can create it normally, right? You don't have to create the body of these functions, right? But if you make it default, then I think you might need. So it says extension method should have a body. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So if you write default here, then you will have to add a body. For now, in this case, we added a body, and we said that yeah, return a user, maybe user. Okay, return new user, and we'll call ID one. Let's say Rishan. Let's say email ID Rishan gmail.com. So yeah. Also, we need to return the return type is of user. So we'll just say yeah, it's a user. So you can see we returned a sample user using this default interface method. All right. I hope it's clear now.
Yeah.
So what is a default interface method? So a normal method will not have a body inside interface, but a default interface method will have a body inside the interface. Okay. Now what is limitations with default method? If the class inherits multiple interfaces having default methods with same signature. So what is signature? So essentially signature is something which is this name, okay? So this name represents a signature. So if we have default method with same signature, then the implementing class has to provide implementation for that default method to resolve ambiguity. Okay, so yeah, there are multiple terms. What is ambiguity first? Okay. What do you think what is an ambiguity is?
I never heard of that word. I will just check it.
So you can say ambiguity is a confusion. Okay.
Okay.
All
Oh
right.
yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
So why Java can't implement multiple inheritance is because of the ambiguity. Okay. Because if we implement from multiple, let's say from multiple parents, then it will have problem to know, yeah, which one do I follow, which is my actual parent. So this is ambiguity. Ambiguity means confusion. Okay. So if the class inherit multiple interfaces, sorry, yeah, if it inherits multiple interfaces having default method with same
Yeah,
signature,
multiple
then
instances.
yeah, and the class has to provide implementation for that default method to resolve ambiguity. Yeah. Okay. If any class in the inheritance hierarchy has a method with the same signature, then default method become irrelevant. I don't know what it's all about. And yeah, this is not even that much important, you know. I have personally, I've never
Okay.
seen it being used anywhere, this default method, but just a concept. And because I want you to know every Java concept, so that you,
Mm-hmm.
the main thing when you write in your exam is you should have confidence in you. If you don't build confidence, you can't write your exams, okay? So this is the reason why I'm
Yes.
going through each and every topic because I want to build a confidence in you that yes, you are able to solve any questions because now you know everything. So there is nothing that you don't know, and now you can solve anything, right? So now
Yes,
there
sir.
are, this is a question which is default method versus abstract method. So what is this? So default method and abstract method. So what is the difference between these two? So there are a couple of minor differences. Abstract method allows defining constructor. Abstract methods can have a state associated. I don't know what is this all about. But yeah, let's just if we have read it, so yeah, you can also read it. Abstract methods
Default.
allows defining constructor. Okay. With default method, abstract class versus interface. Now with the introduction of default methods, now even the interface can be extended to add more capabilities. Now, why do we need default methods? I think this paragraph is solving that problem. So default methods, by using default method, we can now extend the capabilities of interface without breaking the class that inherit from the interface. Okay,
Okay, makes sense.
so all right, so let's see what it means. So suppose we have a class here. Let's give it to Copilot and let's see what it says. Let's say we have a class here, and this is implementation. I hope it will be able to give some example for us to understand. So explain, okay, explain with help of examples. Yeah, we got something. Why default methods were introduced? Yeah, the first question is before Java 8. Okay, this default method is introduced in Java 8, first of all. So before Java 8, interfaces could only declare method signatures. No implementation allowed. Okay. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. So we don't have any implementation here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we just write, sorry, this is our implementation. We don't have any implementation here before default interface method. So in Java 8, we got this default methods. So if you wanted to add a new method to an interface, every implementing class had to update its code. Oh, yeah, 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 correct. Oh, that is really nice. I didn't know about this, but yeah, that's actually cool. Suppose this your
Mm-hmm.
user service. So suppose you have this interface and it is implemented in multiple classes. Let's say we have okay, I have an idea. I have an idea which is this. Let's say we implement this, or maybe we create one more class here, and let's say random class, random service, um, IMPL, or maybe let's not. Let's say we have this main class, and we are implementing here. Okay, we are implementing. To implement an interface, we need to write what? Implements. And we need to write user service implementation, right? Sorry, user service interface. Okay, now you see that we im we need to implement few methods, right? So you see that, yeah, before this, before default method, we did in everything, right? Okay, we did these things. So in
Mm-hmm.
our main class, we have these additional implemented methods. Now, what is the situation here? Suppose you have very large code base. Okay, you have multiple of these services with these interfaces. You have so many interfaces. You have so many class which is implementing this user service, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have just main. You have all the classes in your project which is implementing this user service. Let's say that. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what is the problem is, let's say you want to change something in your user service. Okay. Let's say you want to add a new method in your contract that yes, you want to add some more method in your contract. And let's say that method is this. Okay. That method is this get sample user. Now, what is the issue here? The issue here is if you do this, right? If you do this, let's say you created a new method. Let's say it's not a default. Let's say it's just a method. Now, what is the issue is if you save and you go back to your main class, so there is an error. So you see that you'll get an error here, but in whatever class you implement it, you'll get an error. Okay, you'll get error here as well. So you get all the errors, right? But you just wanted to create one method, one simple sample method, and you just wanted to solve this problem. Yeah, you don't want to get it resolved in all the classes, right? You don't want to refactor everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in that
Yeah.
case, this default method is very useful. We can say that, yeah, we can just mark it as default and we can write the logic here itself. So it's not an issue now. We just say, yeah, we just wrote our logic here only. Now we are good to go. Now we don't have to implement each and everything. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we can directly call it. Let's say we want to directly call, let's get a sample user. To get a sample user, we can just say, yeah, let's call the user service man. We want the sample user. We don't want any extra shit. So let's say we have this and we want one user. So let's say, and um, we are calling a method. Okay. So let's say user is equals to user service dot get sample, right? Okay, there is some issue. What is happening? We need to create an object, right? Because it's not something I think this will do. No, this is not because it cannot be static. Yeah, let's see what is the issue. It says non-static method can, yeah, okay. So we need to make it static as well. So let's say it's okay. What is the issue? Illegal combination of modifiers. Okay, we cannot use static with default. Um, we can write it here. We can't use static with default. What to do to call the default method? You're absolutely right. Default method and static interfaces serve different purposes. Uh, Objects of implementing class, how to call a default method. So yeah, okay. Oh, let's see. We need to create a implementation object and there we can just get it. Okay. Yeah, all right. Makes sense. So how we can call this get sample user? For that, we need to first create an object of user service. So let's say this user service is equals to new user service implementation. Okay. And since it's an interface, so to create an object of this, we need to have an implementation as well. So that's why, okay, now you can see we are covering literally everything from object-oriented concept. This is polymorphism. Are you able to see how it's polymorphism? Okay, I'm telling you. Do you know before, have you ever read what is polymorphism?
Yeah, yeah, we had it in our notes.
So poly means many,
Many, yeah, many
yeah,
things something
many,
together
and morphism means forms. So many forms basically means many forms. Now,
formed.
what is this exactly? So yeah, so what I want to tell you that this user service, you know, oh, I think this is not a good example to explain you this. Maybe I'll just explain it later. But yeah, it's a concept of polymorphism, you can say. But anyway, wait, let me just confirm. I don't know. I believe it's an example of. Is this an example of polymorphism? Classic example of poly. Yeah, I think it will explain. So this means many forms. It allows object to be treated as instance of their parent types rather than their actual class. Okay. So you see that,
Mhm.
right? So to create an object, what we usually did was, let's say you want to create an object of user, right? So what we did, user is equals to new user, right? To create an object, we did this, right? So
Yes.
user is equals to new user. This is what we did, right? But what you are seeing here, we want to create an object of user service implementation, but we are not using user service implementation here. Okay, so this is a classic
Okay.
example of polymorphism because we are using its parent name to create its child. Okay, so user service implementation is implementing the user service. That's why user service became its parent. Okay,
Sure.
so user service is an
Mhm.
interface class. You are creating an object. Wait, I'll just wait. I'll write this. This is really good. I'll share this with you, and I hope you might get to learn few things from this. This is nice, very nice. So I'll share this here and just read it, and you'll get to know about polymorphism from here.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. In today's session, we are covering a lot of things, so you should maintain your focus. Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll go again, so yeah, that's fine. But yeah, you should be focusing. Hope you're not feeling sleepy.
No, no, sir. I'm
Okay.
okay.
All right. So this is a classic example. User service is an interface. This is a class that implements that interface. We are creating an object of this, but we are referencing it using the interface type user service. So what is this? This is our runtime polymorphism. Okay. This is our dynamic method dispatch. So this is our dynamic polymorphism, you can say. So it allows you to call method on user service, and Java will decide at runtime which implementation to use based on the actual object. Okay. So this is an example of runtime polymorphism. All right.
One point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait? Can you share me an example of compile time polymorphism? It means that the method to be invoked is determined at compile time. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. So this is the compile time. Yeah. Okay. This is a complete. This is a different, I guess. I'll have to go again, but yeah. So what is there in the compile time? So you will have a similar signature, which is add, but you will have different types of parameters. Okay. Yeah, you will have three parameters here, two parameters here with different data type. And when you call it, then you will just call the different signatures. Okay. So you know that which one you are calling, which method you are calling. So this is our compile time. I'll go through this again, but yeah. The main question was the runtime. Runtime is very hard to understand, and we got the perfect example. So yeah. All right. So you got the example for runtime one,
Yeah.
and are you clear with this?
Yes, about interface, right?
Yeah, interface and these this topic, this polymorphism runtime.
Yes. Polymorphism, runtime polymorphism, and compile time polymorphism.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So we'll go through this again anyway. But yeah, I just wanted to show you that we have a lot in plate right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so we just see that yeah, default method, abstract versus interface. Now, when the interface can be extended to add more capabilities without breaking the class. So what I wanted to share with you was we don't want to break this class, and we just say that yeah, user is equals to we say that new user service implementation. We don't have to write everything inside this, and we can simply call yeah. So user dot get sample user, and we can simply print it. I need to I need to find this shortcut. I've been looking for system.out.println shortcut in IntelliJ. What we have, if you want to know all the shortcuts, Control J. Okay, let's go. Um, oh, we need to do south. Okay, cool. So we just say south. Oh, nice. We can add it here, remove the extra semicolon, and yeah, let's just print it.
Alright.
Oh, we got one error here. Wanted to say. Okay. Array index out of bound. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's remove this. Let's run it again. So you got the reference of the object. Okay. Why? Because you don't have the dot to string method here. So let's create it. Let's run it again. Oh, we don't get it. Yeah, because this method is not inside the user service implementation, I guess. So we may need to get, yeah. Oh, maybe inside the service. Right click, generate. We don't have anything to generate. Oh, man. Oh man, too bad. Let me ask. Let
That
me
was
ask. Oh, no worries, no worries. We always have Copilot. Where do I create a toString method? Great question. Always a great question. Because get sample user return a user object, and when you print an object, it calls its toString. Okay. Okay. So we need to create. Oh, all right. We can create this in model. Yeah. Right click, generate toString, and we are good to go. Cool. Now we can run it again and get our sample user. You can see we got our sample user without implementing or doing anything. So that's nice.
It was pretty simple to do it, right? Like
Hmm.
it was easier step.
Yeah, you can go through this recording
Yeah.
again.
Sir, you at the moment you're even teaching other people.
What happened?
At the moment you are even teaching other students.
No, no, no. No one.
Okay, okay. Because I saw you post a lot of videos now. I thought,
Yeah, I was streaming last night. I was doing some cyber security things. I was
oh
doing
man.
penetration testing. So I do a lot of freelance work. So that was
Okay.
just a part of my freelance work. And by doing that, I was also streaming. So I was learning, streaming, and also doing freelance. So all three at a time.
Oh, you have viewers and all, right? Like you got
No, I
60
don't.
views in.
I don't have yours.
You got 60 views in 1 day, so I was like, maybe there are people following up.
I don't know. And honestly, I don't care. I'm not doing this for views. I'm just keeping track of myself
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
because I need to show my client that how much time, how much hours did I spend on it.
Yeah, that's a thing. It's pretty good thing actually.
Yep. So
Sir,
that's
you
how
are
I
a
did.
topper, right, in your class and all.
No, I was average, mediocre.
Mm.
Okay. So we're done with this. Let's take 5 minute break because I'm eating something. Let's start after that, okay?
Yeah, yeah. So even I'll go get something.
Yep. Are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm here. I was on mute. I was just in the
Okay.
kitchen.
So you're done?
Yeah, yeah, I'm good. We can continue.
Okay, good. So where were we? Hmm, yeah, so we completed this default interface method, abstract class as an interface. Oh, did we complete the abstract class as an interface?
Yeah, yeah, abstract class we did.
Extended to add more capabilities. Okay, cool. Now, what is the question? What are default interface methods? Now, can you tell what are default interface methods? So, it's a method inside our contract, which is there inside our interface. And
Okay.
if there is a method which is declared with keyword default, so that method must have body as well inside our contract. Okay, and there's no need to override that method inside the implementation class. So that's a cool thing.
There's no
And
need to override.
yeah, there's no need to override this default interface methods. Now, what are the benefits? So benefit is this only, that there's no need to override. What is the next question? Can you add default interface method to enhance an interface that is not directly under your control? Can you override the default interface method to provide the different implementation? Okay, this is a good question. So can we override the default interface method? So until unless we don't do, we don't know. Let's do this. Let's try to override it. So this
Yeah.
is our implementation class. Let's try to override the default method. So we will do override. We'll say public user get sample. You can see we're getting error right away, but yeah, but let's do. Okay, now we're not getting error. Cool. So let's say now it returns null. So we override it. All right.
Yeah.
So there is a way to override it. So yeah, we can say yeah, we can override it.
Default
So
interface, we can override it.
yeah, we can override it, but why do you want to override it? That's a different question. We created it so that we don't have to override a new method. So that's
Hmm.
why
That's why
there,
we're using.
yeah, there's no need. But if anyone asks you, can you override it? Yes, yes, you can. Yes, you can override it. All. See, so yeah, it's cool. Yeah, but to think of the default method as a template, if you don't like the default design, you can
Hmm.
redesign it in your own style. Java lets you do that without forcing every class to implement the method from scratch. In case if you don't like the implementation of the default method in your
Okay.
interface, in
Hmm.
that case you can override it in your implementation and do changes. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
so that's good. That's nice. What happens when a class inherits two interfaces and both define a default method with the same signature? Now this is a good question. So let's try doing this. Let's say we have
Okay.
another service. Let's say it's a interface. We call it, mm, let's say it's a role or maybe something else. What do we say? Um, let's say
Student.
login service. Let's say this time. And in this, let's create the default method. So default public user get sample user. And here we'll just create user is equal to new user. We say that we have a ID2 Mukund and an email at the rate gmail.com. Cool. And we'll just
Yeah.
return this. Or if you want to directly do this, you can just cut and remove all these extra things and just return this. So this will also work. Okay, cool. Now you can see that, all right, so we have a public here. Let's remove it as well. We don't need it. Now you see that in our user service interface, we have a default method called as get sample user. And in our login service, we have a method for get sample user as well. Now,
Hmm.
now we were implementing the method here, right?
Okay.
We were implementing it here. So let's say implements user service, and let's add all those implement methods. Yeah, we added these things. Cool. So we implemented these. Anyway, let's keep it short. Okay. Now we want to implement one more method. To implement one more method, we write comma and then comma separated, and then we say that yeah, we want login service as well. And it says, hey, you need to implement methods. So let's implement method. On it says, yeah, it's a default method that you need to implement. Now what is this? What is happening? Why we are overriding the default method? Shouldn't be like this, right?
No.
right? So,
Yeah.
okay, let's create one more method. Let's say that we want to log in. Let's create, all right, let's say user. Let's say login. Let's say we pass a user, and semicolon. Let's create a login implementation as well. So we'll create a class. We'll say login service IMPL. And let's say we are implementing the login service and we want to add method. So, by default, we'll get this login and this is fine. So for now, let's return new user. Let's say this user is 3. Let's say x. Let's say x dot x@gmail.com. Okay, fine. Now, in your main method, as you can see now, you will get an error. Let's first remove this get sample user and let's see. So when we implemented this user service, we didn't have to override our default method, right? And
Yeah.
now we are implementing this login service. So let's implement method. So it says we don't have to implement this get sample and we can just implement this login. What is this, man? What is this? What was that? So when we had one method which is only default, in that case
Mm-hmm.
we had to override that default. What is this? Let's ask this to Copilot. Let's see what Copilot says. Um, when I implement this, I was forcibly asked to override the default method, right? Let's see what it says. It's because of conflict between interfaces. Okay, okay, that is new. Let's say we have a different name. Okay, yep. Let's say we have a different name. Cool. Let's comment it out. And yes, let's see. Let's see. Now see, we don't have any other thing. So we are not getting any red, right?
Mm-hmm.
Red underline. And in this case, we have a default method, but with a name, but with a signature name, you can call it name or signature, which is different than this one.
Get sample.
But my question is, okay, yeah, how is it getting the reference? It is getting reference because we are using user service here, right? So in user service, we already had get sample user. So in login service, if we have to, so it won't ask you to override it. But if you have just this and save it, then you can see we are getting this red flag and it asks you to override it. It asks you to override the get sample user. Okay. So must override get sample user to resolve conflict. So we are getting some conflict because now this override method, right?
Mm-hmm.
This default method is there in both interfaces. So our main class is confused. Okay, what do I do now? There are two get sample users. Which one do I call? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so our main class is confused because it implemented both of these and both have same method name. Okay, both have same method name in its contract. Now it is confused which one do I call? So that's why to to resolve that conflict, it asks you to create to
Interface.
override
Mm.
get sample user. Okay. All right. So there is one more keyword here, which is super. So just
Super
wanted to
keyword.
know what is super. So it will basically call the something. So explain super keyword. So it is a powerful tool that let you reach into the parent class or interface from within a subclass. Okay, super.speak. Yeah, so if you call the super here, wherever you are implementing, so it will call the super, it will call that method inside the class which you're implementing. That's fine.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay, let's ask this to explain this one. Explain what what is happening. Explain. Yeah, so you're overriding the get sample user. Instead of writing a new implementation, you are explicitly calling the default method from the user service interface using user service.super. So what happens is here we are calling the get sample user from the user service parent. Okay. Now we are explicitly saying, yeah, there is a conflict and we are confused that what sample user do we need to call, right? So
Hmm.
we are confused. Yeah. At this point, our main class is confused that which get sample user function to call. Okay. And in this override example, we are saying that we are supposed to call from our user service. Okay. So we are explicitly telling that, yeah, you don't have to get conflict. Just say that you are calling from user service. Okay. Now, what if you want to call from login service? But for now, let's just print out this. So let's just say that, yeah, um, yeah, let's just say that you have to get the sample user and you run this file, okay? What happens? What happens is that the Java method does not override or implement a method from a super type. What? Full method login. What hap- What did we change? What? We are doing nothing. I don't know why it's happened. Yeah, anyway. Oh, we need to implement some method here, which is login. Because we are implementing this. It's in our contract, right?
Yes.
And we didn't created the implementation of it, right? So login service, login component, new login service implementation. And now you don't have to create the override for this one. Wait, why must either be declared abstract or implement interfaces? Okay, I think we are supposed to do this because we did this for our, oh yeah, we are implementing it, right? So we don't have to necessarily implement it. So no, but in this case, we want to implement it so that I can show you that we can resolve this conflict and this conflict get sample user can get resolved. Yeah, okay, never mind. Um, I think it's not, yeah, okay, it's necessary.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah, oh my God, can we do this? No. Okay. Never mind. Let's comment it out for now. And rather than this, we can say login service and get sample user. So we'll just see both of these cases. We'll see what is happening. So let's run it. And you can see that we are getting null. Um, we are getting null because this get sample user is not getting called from there. It is getting called from login service. And in login service, let me call again with this one, user service. Let me check what happens in this case. Oh, we are still getting null. I think there is some issue. I don't want to debug it. I'm too exhausted for that. So why am I getting null as output? Explain. Main method is calling get sample user on the user service implementation object, not on the main class where you are. Okay. Okay. This line creates an instance of user service implementation which does not override get sample user. So it uses the default method from user service, which returns so far so good. This should print a valid, but we're getting null. Why we are getting null? Infinite recursion. What are we doing this null? Oh, did we implemented this get sample here as well? My God. Okay, but no. We are using some kind of wait. Here we are using like here we are giving it null value. That's why it got overridden.
Oh,
So in our what happened is when we created the object of this user service implementation.
mhm.
So even if we have a default method here and it is defined with some value, if you create if you override it, so what override means is it will change whatever you want. So if you override it, then it will change your response as well. So let's remove it from override and let's check it again. And now we should probably get our result. Yeah. So in this case, you can see we are calling from our user. So it gets called from this user service and it is returning that. Now let's say you're calling it from login one. And let's see what is happening. So it's still it will return one. No, it is returning two. How? How?
Pretty confusing.
Yeah, but I mean, yes, it is confusing for me as well. I don't know what you are facing, but we'll see. Breakdown of your code. This means main inherits both get sample user methods, one from user service and one from login service. If you override the get sample user in main, this tells Java when someone calls get sample user on a main object, use oh my god.
It was just there.
It was there for if someone calls the object of main, in that case it will it will use this one. But if you
Okay.
do this directly, you're not calling the get sample user on main. You're calling the get sample user from the login service itself. Makes sense. Yeah, definitely. How to see? Yeah, we need to create an object of main. Yeah, let's do this. Let's create an object of main and print out. So main new. Oh, okay. Main is supposed to new main, and we created the object of this, and we'll just call the get sample user, or maybe let's print first. So now we can call the object of get sample user. Now let's see. Hopefully this time we will get ID1. Yeah. So you can see we gave it the by default value of user service. Now if we give this by default value of login service, so we'll get some other response. We'll get 2. Okay. So we manage the conflict using override here. It's a bit difficult to understand, but I'll just share the code here and hopefully you can watch it later to understand
Yeah.
what is going on. But,
Yeah. Today
honestly,
I will watch again this video.
yeah, you can do that actually. We can override, provide a different implementation. So I'll just write an answer here, explaining with some code. This is the code, and yeah, cool. Now the next question is what happens when a class inherits two interfaces and both define a default method with the same signature.
Mhm.
Okay, class inherits two interface, both define a default method with this is the answer for the fourth one. Okay, we solved this. Answer for four. Okay, next question. How defining a default method in an interface is different from defining the same method in an abstract class? Hmm. Okay, for now, let's just ask one more question. Abstract class versus interface. Let's see what is this is a good question, and I think you should be able to answer this one. So, and I should explain this to you as well. Abstract class versus interface. What is this? What is? Yeah. So, in abstract class, there will be partial implementation plus abstraction. And in interface, we have a contract, which is pure abstraction. Okay. Interface is nothing but pure abstraction. Okay. But that is also slightly changed after Java 8 because now we have default interface methods. So it's nothing but pure abstraction, and abstract class is partial implementation plus abstraction. So abstract class can have constructors, and interface cannot have constructors. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Are you able to understand?
Yeah.
Because you can also see this. If you see this in interface, when we click right here and try to generate, you can see we don't get anything.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't create constructor, getter, or setter, anything inside our interface. So only static final constants is allowed here. So what does it mean? Static final constant means, let's say static final, and let's say value. Let's give it a um, let's say it's an enum, and let's give it value one, two, three, enum string import static constant. Oh, we need to give it some other name. Let's give it something else. Let's say the value for login is the ID, which is admin, password is password. I don't know why I cannot resolve local variable string.admin, or I don't know how it will write. Maybe like this. Yeah, I think this makes sense. Okay. Uh, how to write this? Oh yeah, like this. So when we create, oh, we don't want this much, so perhaps let's just don't write even for now. Let's say that we have a username for login by default, and let's say it's admin. Yeah. So this is allowed. To create a static final variable is allowed inside an interface. Okay. Now if you try to right click and create getter setter, so it's not possible. All right. So interface can only have static final constant, but abstract can have any instant variables. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And multiple inheritance abstract class is not does not support multiple inheritance, but interface can implement multiple interfaces. So yeah, so that's cool. Um, interface can only be public. Usually, why it? Let's say let's try this. Let's give it no modifier. So you can see we will get some errors here. Okay, it says rename reference or something. So what it means that methods are okay. Methods are implicitly public. Okay, never mind. If you write public here in the method, let's say we have a login. If you write public here, so what it will say that it is redundant for interface member because by
Mm-hmm.
default all the interface contract or all the interface members or methods are by default public. If you try to write it private, it should give some error. So you cannot make it private, right? So in an interface, if you are creating a declaration for a contract, let's say login. So if you want to write public, it's fine, but if you don't want it, it is also fine because it is by default and you cannot make it private also. So I'll just copy and paste this table. This is very helpful just in case you want to
Yeah,
go
yeah,
through
that
this again. Yeah,
that table is very important, sir.
yeah,
I was about to tell
it
you
is
to
helpful.
keep it there.
Yeah, it's helpful. So it is always good if you are using Copilot because there are a lot of things which I might forget. So I might miss, so it will cover. You can by seeing this, we can cover all those things. This
Copilot
is
is even better than ChatGPT, right, sir?
no, it's not that. I'm using Copilot because it's already there in the Firefox. Sorry, yeah, in Microsoft Edge, so it's an easy tool. I don't have to go anywhere, go ChatGPT things. That's why I use Copilot here for. But I usually prefer ChatGPT over anything.
Okay, the best.
Yeah. If you want to code and if you want to debug, in that case, ChatGPT is great.
Okay,
But if you want it for normal things, so yeah, you can do Copilot as well.
got it.
Okay, we are clear with these things. We were at questions, so we completed abstract class versus interface, and I believe we don't need to go through the static interface method.
No, we went through it almost 2 times, sir.
Static?
Yeah,
No,
static.
no. I think we just went through the default interface methods and abstract
Yeah,
class
yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry, I was
polymorphism
confused.
interface.
Yeah, I'm writing now, so I thought I wrote static interface, but I just wrote interface. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what is a static interface method? So these are directly added to an interface to extend its capabilities. So apart from the default methods, we have one more called as static methods. So again,
Mhm.
it is used to extend the capabilities of an interface, and it is generally used to implement utility functions like validations, sorting, etc. So to be honest, you can skip this for now and just know that yeah, there is something called as a static interface method which exists because it is going too long for an
Yeah.
interface and you might not this much. But for just in case to get you a brief or good overview over the topic interface, I think I know what you know now what is interface and what is there inside an interface, what is the difference between abstract class and interface, and what is default methods in an interface, what problem does an interface solves like multiple inheritance problem, diamond
Yes.
problem, and
Yes.
how to create an interface, how to create implementation of interface, how to use an interface implementation in another class, how to do like all those stuff you know now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you know all these things, you are now qualified to create a project in Java, and we will try to create a project as well later in this course. Yeah, but for now, let's just finish these topics and yeah, let's get through this done. It's done. You also went through the polymorphism, abstraction, encapsulation, and
Yes, sir.
little bit into inheritance. So yeah, that's cool. Now, what is
Yeah.
annotation? So let me tell you what is annotation. Can you see in this login service? You can see this @ override. So this is
Yes.
an annotation.
Okay.
Whenever you see there is an @ mentioned, you
Uh-huh.
can tell this, yeah, this is an annotation. Okay.
Annotation. Okay.
Yeah. Now what is an annotation? So it associates metadata to different program elements. It may be directed at the compiler or whatever. Oh, it's very difficult definition. I don't know how do I explain this to you. But in layman terms, you can see wherever you see this @. So this is generally an annotation, okay? And you'll get to know more about the annotations uh, when you go through Spring frameworks, etc. Then you'll get to know more about the annotations. But yeah, for now, let's see the few built-in annotations. For first one, you say @deprecated. So it signifies that the method is obsoleted. So if you say that this login method is now deprecated, so now this login, if we use it somewhere, let's say if we call it, um, should give us something like, where did we mention the login? Yeah, okay, let's call the login and we should pass what should we pass? So we need to pass new user. Let's say one. Let's say c dot gmail blah blah blah. So this login method is deprecated, and is there any way to know that? I am checking that, but you can see this is deprecated, but it's not showing anywhere. Anyways, okay, whatever. And another one is the at the rate override. So it signifies that a superclass method is overridden. And in suppress warning, you will get to know more about this when we do exceptions and all. Then you'll get to know about suppress warnings. Okay, so the only question there is this one. So let's co-pilot it. Let's get the answer. Oh yeah, this definition is much better. So annotations are not part of the program logic. They don't change how your code run. Instead, they provide some instruction to the compiler that it is a overridden code, that it helps tools generate boilerplate code like getter, setter, etc. Yeah, it's nice. I think this definition is much better. We can change. Let's change it instead of going through this. Um, we can just yeah, this is much better definition. Oh, you can deprecate a class. Okay, let's deprecate it. Let's say that this login service itself is deprecated. If you go to the main, well, it doesn't matter though, but yeah. Yeah, you can see it's deprecated. This login service is deprecated. It is already mentioned.
Mhm.
Means it is not being maintained anymore. So that's cool. We completed all these things and let's save it. Uh, so we are done with this task and I hope you learned a lot from this.
Yes, so today, although I have to recheck the YouTube video.
Yep. So we are done with this one and I'll mark it uh, for revision. Okay, cool. Yeah, apart from this, we have topics like polymorphism, so we'll do those things in next class. Overriding, overloading, abstraction. But you know now the basic concept. I think we can
Yes,
finish it easily.
yes, sir.
Inheritance, diamond problem. So we already discussed about these things today also. So
Mm-hmm.
it will be easy tomorrow if we go through this. Now
Yes, yes.
let's solve some questions. Okay.
Okay.
Um, I will share some questions with you. Wait, let me follow text that.
Actually, for today, I have to go somewhere at 2:30.
Yeah, okay.
So if you can wind up at 2:15, 3:20, we could.
Wind up around
2:15?
to in 15 minutes. Okay, cool.
Yeah, because I have to bath and then I have to go somewhere at 2:30.
Okay, cool. I can do that. Just I will handle few things.
Oh,
Yeah, I will handle few assignments to you,
okay.
and you need to write a solution. Okay.
Okay.
So I will share the assignment with you maybe later. Yeah, maybe later. Okay, we can wind up. Let's just quickly let me know what did you understood from today's lecture.
Well, so today, first of all, I understood about interface
Okay.
that it defines a contract. which is a class must implement all methods from interface.
Okay.
And even I got to know that Java can do multiple inheritance. We use this interface to solve that problem.
Yep. Okay.
And I got to know about abstraction. What is abstraction? Like we hide our complex code from people.
Mm. Okay.
And a little bit of encapsulation. I still didn't get it nicely. I'll have to like I'll rewatch
Encapsulation
this
is just
video.
using the access modifiers like private, public, these things to hide the data. It's like a data binding where we encapsulate those data in our model, and we use getter and setter to get and set the data. So yeah, I will go through it again. No worries. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Next.
Next, I got to know default interface methods.
Okay.
They will always have a body inside the interface.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have to do some research on default method versus abstract method.
Okay. Cool.
And I got to know about polymorphism. Like polymorphism means many forms, and we can use parent's name to create child.
Yeah. Okay.
Runtime polymorphism and compile time polymorphism. I still have to like I'll go through the video again and check it out nicely. Super keyword even I have to check it out once.
Okay.
And then yeah, static interface method, which is used to extend capabilities of an interface.
Yeah.
And the last thing, annotation, anything that starts with at. So we have at override and at dip something I forgot.
Deprecated. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. There's a lot to, but I want you to code also. So I'll share the assignment with you, and you need to create some classes and
Okay,
yeah, do the hands-on activities because that is more important. Because all this time only I'm writing code, and I want you to write code. So
all
yeah,
right, so
yeah, I want you to write all the code by yourself only. Don't take help from any AI or ChatGPT or Copilot. Please do not take help from those. You can take
okay,
help from Google, but don't use any AI. Okay.
all right,
Yeah. All right. So we can wrap up. Okay.
all right.